Hello guys, this is the fourth chapter of ancient Indian history and this is the author name is R.S. Sharma. It is most important book for covering whole of the topics when it comes to the ancient Indian history, and it is most probably important for general studies, mains as well as prelims. So, without a delay, let's start today's discussion. This new chapter named is geographical setting, and we will know about how geography plays an important role, crucial role to know our historical past. The emergence of India, how India emerged. The Indian subcontinent emerged as a separate geographical unit some 40 million years ago. Originally peninsular India, together with Antarctica, Africa, Arabia, and South America. At that time, there was one uh, big continent known as Pangaea, and the ocean name is Panthalassa. And this Pangaea was breaking into two parts in the north side, that is known as Angara land or Eurasian plate, and the southern plate was known as the Gondwana land, and parts of these plates, and these countries or subcontinent, we can say, the part of the Gondwana land is considered to have been a part of the southern supercontinent called the Gondwana land. Earlier, Gondwana land together with the northern supercontinent Laurasia, comprising North America, Greenland, Europe, and most of Asia north of the Himalayas, formed a single landmass called Pangaea. The Gondwana land and Laurasia became separate units. Due to tectonic movements, different parts began to break away from Gondwana land, giving rise to separate geographical units including Peninsular India. This process began around 225 million years ago, and 40 million years ago India became a separate unit, means India began to breaking from Australian plate and Australian or African plate, and India was shifting in the north, and it was submerged or it was diverged under the beneath of Eurasian plate, and in during the 40 million years ago. So you should learn this time period. 40 million years ago India was created. India moved north to join the Eurasian continent sometime between 58 and 37 million years ago. So India was breaking from African continent around 40 million years ago, and it was moving towards north around 58 and 37 million years ago. Between these two time period, you should remember. In comparison to earlier dates, India's Himalayan boundary is very young. The uplift of the Himalayas took place in four phases that are most important or more important for prelims perspective. Himalayas uplift of the Himalayas took place in four phases. What are four phases? Next we will see. The last and the final uplift took place in the Pleistocene epoch, that is in circa 2 million to 12,000 BC. The Himalayas played an important part in forming the Indo-Gangetic Plains through its rivers, which brought down alluvial deposits in the Pleistocene epoch. The Indian subcontinent is as large in area as Europe without Russia, with a total area of 42 lakh square kilometer around. The subcontinent is divided into 5 countries such as India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, and Pakistan. So, these countries are collectively known as the Indian subcontinent. India has nearly 1000 or 10,000 lakh people, or we can say 1 billion people. It comprises now 1.4 more than 1.4 billion right now. It comprises 28 states and 7 union territories, including the National Capital Territory of Delhi. Some of its states are larger than many European countries such as Rajasthan and Maharashtra. These are larger states than any other European countries. The role of the monsoon. The Indian subcontinent is a well defined geographical unit and is largely situated in the tropical zone. The monsoon has played an important role in India's history. The southwest monsoon lasts between June and October and brings rain in varying degrees to major parts of the country. In ancient times, irrigation was not an important factor and rains played a crucial role in agriculture. So, southwest monsoon is very important, and Indian farmers as well as agriculture of India mostly depends on this southwest monsoon. What is known today as the Kharif crop in North India depended primarily in ancient times on the southwest monsoon during the rainy season. In winter, the western disturbances that is originated in Mediterranean Sea and moving towards India through Central Asia and Afghanistan, Pakistan. The western disturbances bring rains to northern India where wheat, barley and the like constitute the main crop. A part of the peninsular India, particularly the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu, gets its major rainfall from the northeast monsoon from mid October to mid December. Once the direction of the monsoon was discovered sometime around AD 1st century, traders sailed with the southwest monsoon from Western Asia and the Mediterranean area and came to India and Southeast Asia because it is interesting story based on the uh, traders sailed when they came to India through the ocean. And we will discuss this topic when we will discuss in the geography part or atmospheric science or monsoon. So we will know at that time. Okay. They returned westward with the arrival of the northeast monsoon. The discovery of the monsoon enabled India to carry on trade and establish cultural contacts with Western Asia and the Mediterranean area as well as with Southeast Asia. So you should remember these are most important points which you will carry your more marks when you if you give mains exam. Okay, the northern boundaries. India is bounded by the Himalayas on the north and seas on the other three sides, such as Bay of Bengal in eastern side, Arabian Sea in western side, and the Indian Ocean in the southern side. The Himalayas protect the country against the cold Arctic winds blowing from Siberia through Central Asia because these are the very cold winds that originate from Europe and Eurasian region, and moving towards the Himalayas. And Himalaya obstruct these winds and save India from the cold winds. This keeps the climate of northern India fairly warm throughout the year. As the cold is not very severe in the plains, people do not need heavy clothing and can live in the open for longer periods. Secondly, the Himalayas are sufficiently high to shield India against invasions from the north. Himalayas are important for India's location because it culturally as well as climatically protects India. However, this was especially true in pre-industrial times when communications were very difficult. However, on the northwest, the Suleiman mountain ranges where the Khyber, Bolan and Gomal passes cross this mountain, which are a southward contribution of Himalayas, could be crossed through Khyber, Bolan and Gomal Pass. You should remember these passes because these are important for historical point of view, because through Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, Khyber Pass, Muhammad of Ghazni invaded, and through Bolan Pass, Muhammad of Ghori invaded India. Okay, and Gomal Pass is also important for historical point of view. Very prominent rulers came to India such as Kushan through Gomal Pass. The Suleiman ranges are joined southward in Baluchistan by Kirthar ranges, which could be crossed through the Bolan Pass. Through these passes, two-way traffic between India and Central Asia has continued from prehistoric times onwards. Various peoples from Iran, Afghanistan, and Central Asia came to India as invaders and immigrants, and vice versa. Even the Hindu Kush, the westward extension of the Himalaya system, did not form an insuperable barrier between the Indus and the Oxus system. The passes facilitated trade and cultural contacts between India on the one hand and the Central Asia and West Asia on the other. Okay, so general statement, you should remember this. Nestled in the Himalayas are the valleys of Kashmir and Nepal. Surrounded on all sides by high mountains, the valley of Kashmir developed its own way of life but could be reached through several passes. Its winter compelled some of its people to go to the plains, and its summer attracted the shepherds from the plains. Economic and cultural interaction between the plains and the valley was continuing. The Pamir Plateau did not prevent it from becoming a transmission center of Buddhism to the adjacent areas of Central Asia, because Buddhism was prevalent from India to Central Asia through this Silk Road, and Silk Road was connected with the Uttarpath. That is Uttarpath means the road built during at that time, and in the recent days it is known as Grand Trunk Road, that was built up by Sher Shah Suri. And this Uttarpath met with the Silk Road, which is originated from China. So Buddhism was prevalent in Central Asia, and it was gone from India to Central Asia through the Uttarpath, and it was connected through Silk Road. Okay, the valley of Nepal, smaller in size, is accessible to the people of the Gangetic Plains through a number of passes. Like Kashmir, it too became a center for the cultivation of Sanskrit. Both these valleys became repositories of the largest number of Sanskrit manuscripts, and in 2024, I think 2025, this year, UPSC asked one question that was belong to Buddhism, and one scholar from Kashmir go to Tibet to spread message of Buddhism, and his name was, I think, uh, I am not remembering this. Okay, so you should go through the your previous year question, and you often see and solve that question. Okay, the foothills of the Himalayas lent themselves to easier clearance than the jungles on the alluvial soil of the plains. It was easy to cross rivers in these areas because of their narrower width, and hence the earliest routes skirted along the foothills of the Himalayas from the west to the east and vice versa. It was therefore natural that the earliest agricultural settlements were founded in the foothills and uplands, and trade routes followed the Terai route. Okay, next are rivers. Rivers are most important component of geography, because rivers decide the floodplains, or sorry, not floodplains but agricultural system, and the population of the country, because the agriculture, and where population is inhabiting their agriculture, as well as the trade system also flourishes in the bank of the rivers, like Ganga river captures most of the populous area in the country. Okay, so rivers are most important component of geographical or landform boundaries. Okay, or part of landforms. The heart of historical India is formed by its important rivers, which are swollen by the tropical monsoon rains. These consist of the plains of the Indus system, Indo-Gangetic divide, the Gangetic plain, and the Brahmaputra plain, Brahmaputra basin. So these are the three system of large river system, such as Indus river system, then Ganga river system, and then Brahmaputra river system. So these are the important three rivers which are uh, in North India, which are covering in North India most part of the country. Okay, proceeding from west to east, we find the annual rainfall gradually increasing from 25 centimeter to 250 centimeter. As we know, when we go from west to east, we often see most of the population inhabit in the eastern side of the country, because in eastern side there is more rainfall, there is more fertile land, and there is more growing agricultural production as compared to west, because west has less rainfall and less population. And we generally know about the growing crops also we can see in the western side of the country, western side of the North India. Okay, proceeding from west to east, we find the annual rainfall gradually increasing 25 centimeter to over 250 centimeter. The Indus vegetation based on 25 to 30 centimeter, 37 centimeter rainfall, and possibly the western Gangetic vegetation based on 37 to 60 centimeter rainfall could be cleared with stone and copper implements and made fit for cultivation. But this was not possible in the case of the mid-Gangetic vegetation based on 60 to 25 centimeter rainfall, and certainly not in the case of the lower Gangetic and Brahmaputra vegetation based on 125 to 250 centimeter rainfall. The thickly forested areas, which also had hard soil, could be cleared only with the aid of iron implements, which became available at a much later stage. Therefore, the natural resources of the less rainy western area were utilized first, and large-scale human settlements generally spread from west to east. Once brought under cultivation, the Indus-Gangetic plains produced rich crops and supported successive cultures. Okay, so these are the general terms, and you often know about these terms. I don't dictate these. Okay, the Indus and the western Gangetic plains principally produced wheat and barley, while the middle and lower Gangetic plains largely produced rice. Like UP, Bihar, West Bengal produce rice, and wheat and barley produced by Punjab, Haryana, and parts of Rajasthan. Okay, so you should remember when you go from west to east, then crop production be changed, also be changed, which also became the staple diet in Gujarat and south of the Vindhyas. The Harappan culture originated and flourished in the Indus Valley. The Vedic culture originated in the northwest frontier province and the Punjab and flourished in the western Gangetic basin. The post-Vedic culture mainly based on the use of iron through in the mid-Gangetic basin. So these are the time period or chronological order where the various culture flourishing in North India in the Indus as well as Ganga basin. The lower Gangetic Valley and North Bengal really came into focus in the age of the Guptas. And finally, the Brahmaputra Valley covering Assam gained importance in early medieval times. Powerful rulers fought for the possession of these plains and valleys, and the Ganga Yamuna Doab in particular proved to be the most coveted and contested area. So you should remember this because this phrase is very important. Okay, so lower Gangetic like part of Bengal came into picture at the age of the Guptas, and Brahmaputra Valley covering Assam came into picture at the time of medieval period or Sultanate period or Mughal Empire. Okay, and Ganga Yamuna Doab particularly most important area. The rivers served as arteries of commerce and communications. In ancient times, it was difficult to build roads, and so men and material were moved by boat. The river routes, therefore, well served military and commercial transport. The stone pillars built by Ashok were transported to different parts of the country by boat. The importance of rivers for communications continued till the days of the East India Company. Besides, the rivers inundated the neighboring areas and made them fertile. They also supplied water to the canals cut from them. However, they caused heavy floods which periodically inundated and destroyed towns and villages in the northern plains, and therefore many ancient buildings were totally washed away and destroyed. Nevertheless, important towns and capitals such as Hastinapur, Prayag, Varanasi, and Patliputra were situated on the banks of the rivers. In modern times, urban sites are located at railway and road junctions or in industrial or mining zones, but in pre industrial times, towns were mostly situated on river banks and junctions. Okay. Above all, it was the rivers that demarcated political and cultural boundaries, which were also found by mountains. Political and cultural boundaries formed through various parts of the country, various coastal areas as well as in the north, that is Himalaya, and covered by mountain areas. Thus, in the desert part of the Indian peninsula, the area known as Kalinga, covering the coastal belt of Odisha, was situated between the Mahanadi to the north and the Godavari to the south. Similarly, Andhra Pradesh largely lay between the Godavari to the north and Krishna to the south. The deltaic plains formed by these two rivers at their mouths shot into prominence by beginning of the Christian era, when they became studded with towns and ports under the Satavahanas and their successors. Finally, a major part of Tamil Nadu was situated between the Krishna to the north and Kaveri to the south. Okay, so these are the geographical location which are very important for prelims point of view. The Kaveri Valley extended in the south roughly to the Vaigai River. Vaigai River is also important river located in south of Tamil Nadu or south of Chennai, and in the north to the south Pennar River. Pennar River came in last year, so it is important river. Okay, it formed a distinct geographical zone and became the seat of Chola power a little before the beginning of the Christian era. So Pennar River important for Chola period as well, because most of the time Chola empire is in news, and the UPSC generally ask at least one question from this section. Chola, Pandya and Cheras, and along with the Kakatiya and Pallava period. Okay, so these are important topics you should remember. This area was different from North Tamil Nadu, which consisted of uplands and came into prominence under the Pallavas in the 4th 6th centuries. The eastern part of the peninsula is bounded by the Coromandel coast. Although the coastline is flanked by the eastern Ghats or steppes, the Ghats are not very high and have several openings caused by the eastward flow of the rivers into the Bay of Bengal. Thus, communication between the eastern coast on the one hand and other parts of Andhra and Tamil Nadu on the other was not difficult in ancient times. The port cities of Arikamedu, modern name Mahabalipuram and Kaviripatnam were situated on the Coromandel coast. So these are the important port cities of ancient times that are most important for trade purposes. Okay, so Arikamedu located in Tamil Nadu, Mahabalipuram also in Tamil Nadu, and the capital city of Pallavas, and Kaviripatnam is located in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, the western part of the peninsula does not have such distinct regional units. We can, however, locate Maharashtra between the Tapi or Damanganga to the north and the Bhima to the south. So these two is these two rivers are covering the parts of Maharashtra, that is Tapi in the north and Bhima in the south. The area covered by Karnataka seems to have been situated between the Bhima and the upper regions of the Krishna to the north and the Tungabhadra to the south. Okay, so you should remember the Krishna and the Tungabhadra, between these two rivers the state of Karnataka is located. For a long time, Tungabhadra provided a natural frontier between the warring powers to its north and south, just as the Chalukyas of Badami and the Rashtrakutas found it difficult to extend their sway to the south of the Tungabhadra. So also the Pallavas and Cholas found it difficult to extend their authority to its north. The coastal area in the extreme southwest of the peninsula was covered by the modern state of Kerala. The sea coast along the western part of the peninsula is called the Malabar coast. Although the coast came to have several ports and small kingdoms, communications between the coast and the adjoining areas of Maharashtra, Karnataka and Kerala were rendered difficulty by the western Ghats with difficult passes to cross. In between the Indus and the Gangetic systems to the north and the Vindhya mountains to the south lies a vast stretch of land which is divided into two units by the Aravalli mountains. So Vindhya range divides north and south, and this is located in the transition between North India and South India. And Aravalli mountain is located in the north of the Vindhya range, and also one plateau located between these two mountains, such as that is the Malwa plateau, which is very important, which was very important during the ancient period, because the Malwa plateau was too much important for trade, or the crossing system from south to the north, and it also connected, it was also connected the silk route through Uttar Path. Okay, the area where the Aravallis is covered by Thar Desert, although a part of Rajasthan also lies in this region. The vast expanse of the desert made human settlements impossible in ancient times. However, a few fertile oases scattered in the desert were settled, and from early times it has been possible to cross the desert on camels. The southeastern portion of Rajasthan has been a comparatively fertile area since ancient times, and because of the existence of the Khetri copper mines in this region, it came to be settled in the Chalcolithic period. Okay, so Khetri mine, you should remember also, this is the discovery in the time of Chalcolithic period. Rajasthan shades off into the fertile plains of Gujarat, which are irrigated by the waters of the Narmada, Tapi, Mahi, Sabarmati, situated at the end of the northwestern portion of the Deccan Plateau. Gujarat includes the less rainy Kathiawar Peninsula. Okay, Kathiawar and Saurashtra have get very less rainfall. So these are the drought prone areas in the state of Gujarat, like Bundelkhand area in parts of Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. The coastal area of this state is fairly indented and therefore suitable for the establishment of several harbors. Therefore, since ancient times, Gujarat has been famous for its coastal and foreign trade, and its people have proved to be enterprising traders. South of the Ganga Yamuna Doab and bounded by the Chambal River to the west, the Son River on the east, and the Vindhya Mountains and the Narmada River to the south, lie the state of Madhya Pradesh. So this is the important phrase. It's south of Ganga Yamuna Doab, bounded by the Chambal River to the west, the Son River on the east, and Vindhya Mountains and the Narmada River to the south, lie the state of Madhya Pradesh. So in ancient time, Madhya Pradesh was known as Madhya Desh. Okay, its northern part consists of fertile plains. At present, MP is the largest state in the country, but now it is not. It not consist the it not consist other states like Chhattisgarh. Uh, so it is shorter than Rajasthan in current situation, and can be broadly divided into two parts, eastern and western. The eastern part, mostly covered by the Vindhyas, became historically important in Gupta times in the 4th and 5th centuries. However, western MPs includes Malwa, which has been the scene of historical activities from the 6th century BC onwards, and because Malwa was important hinterland for the Gujarat ports, and many wars were fought between the Deccan and the northern powers for the possession of Malwa and Gujarat, because the Malwa was the trade route for most of the ruler uh, when they practiced the trade system as well as the cultural practices at that time through Malwa Plateau. Okay, when they go to south, northern rulers or northern army go to south or went to south, then it cross it must be cross the Malwa Plateau. Okay, so Malwa was very important transition area. The Sakas and the Satavahanas fought for the possession of this area in the 1st and 2nd centuries, and the Marathas and Rajputs in the 8th century. So these dynasties are most important Sakas and Satavahanas for the possession of this Malwa plateau and in the 2nd century, and in the 18th century the Marathas and Rajputs tussled over the Malwa plateau. Natural frontiers and cultural contacts. Each of the areas bounded by rivers, in some cases by mountains, and sometimes with deltas and plateaus, constituted a political and administrative unit in which different ruling dynasties rose and fell. On account of difficult communications in a vast country and the defensibility of the natural frontiers, it was not easy for the ruling class of one region to establish its control over all other regions. Okay, gradually every region grew into a distinct cultural unit with its own style of life and language. However, in northern and western India, most languages were derived from the same Indo-Aryan stock and hence has many elements in common. What is also important is that virtually throughout India, Sanskrit came to be cultivated and understood. Okay, so you should remember Sanskrit was most important language during or since Rig Vedic period. The Vindhya mountains cut right across India from west to east and formed a boundary between north and south India. The speakers of the Dramanian languages lived south of the Vindhyas and of the Indo-Aryan languages north of them. In between lived tribal peoples in Vindhya regions where they are still found. The coastal areas along the eastern and western Ghats attracted settlers and traders, and the south was engaged in flourishing foreign trade. Okay, the Vindhyas do not constitute insurmountable barriers. In ancient times, despite the difficulties of communications, people moved from north to south and vice versa. This led to a give and take in culture and language. Repeatedly, the northern powers moved down to the south and southern rulers moved up to the north. So, to did traders, missionaries, and cultural leaders, particularly the Brahmanas. This two-way traffic was continuing and helped the development of a composite culture. Although most regions had well-defined natural frontiers, not every region possessed the resources necessary to sustain livelihoods in isolation. Therefore, from prehistoric times onwards, the common need for metals and other resources produced a network of interconnection between the different regions of the country, and most of Mahajanpadas during Mahajanpad age defeated each and every with conflicted with each other for capturing these important location which covered the iron and steel industries. Okay, such as the Magad defeated Avanti, okay, or Ujjaini, and found more mines in this area. And due to these mines, the Ujjaini or we can say the Avanti was most powerful kingdom at that time, but not Magad. Due to Magad Empire had more number of iron and steel mines as well as coal mines in the eastern side of India. Next are minerals and other resources available in various parts of the country. The exploration of the natural resources of India has an important bearing on its history. Until human settlements developed on a large scale, given the heavy rainfall, substantial areas of Indian plains abounded in thickly forested areas which provided game and supplied forage, fuel, and timber. In early times, when burnt bricks were not much in use, early Harappan period, timber houses and palisades were constructed. We can say during Mauryan period, The stone tools were used in early the period Mauryan period, such as during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya. Stones were frequently used, and after Chandragupta Maurya, during when it comes to the Ashoka period, most of wooden architecture were used. Wooden uh, goods were used during Ashokan period. Okay, they have been found in Patliputra, India's first important capital. For construction and tool making, all kinds of stones, including sandstone, are available in India. The earliest human settlements are naturally found in the hilly areas and in those river valleys that are situated between the hills. In historical times, more temples and pieces of sculpture were made of stone in the Deccan and South India than in the plains of northern India. Copper is widely distributed in India because copper is found in various parts of the country, and copper mines are located more in Chota Nagpur Plateau or Rajasthan area as well. The richest copper mines are located in the Chota Nagpur Plateau, particularly in Singhbhum district. The copper belt is about 130 km long and shows many signs of ancient workings. The earliest people who used copper implements in Bihar exploited the copper mines of Singhbhum and Hazaribagh, and many copper tools have been discovered in South Bihar and parts of MP. Rich copper deposits are also to be found in the Khetri mines in Rajasthan. Okay, these were tapped by both pre-Vedic and Vedic people who lived in areas now covered by Pakistan, Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Ganga Yamuna Doab. Numerous copper belts have been found in the Khetri zone of Rajasthan, and they seem to belong to a period anterior to 1000 BC, around the Iron Age. Okay, as copper was the first metal to be used, it is invested by Hindus with great purity, and utensils made of it are used in religious rituals. So after the Indus Valley, that is popularly called the Bronze Age civilization, the copper was became a most important. Copper became most important uh, metal during the Chalcolithic and before Iron Age, until iron was discovered. Okay, India today produces virtually no tin since long time because they people generally did not know the technology to produce tin from bronze and copper. Okay, sorry, not bronze and copper, but copper and uh, which metal, copper and tin. Okay, because tin were not present at that time, so it was the bronze that was not created during this period, and this was scarce even in ancient times. There is reason to believe that it was found in Rajasthan, South MP and Bihar, but the deposits have been virtually exhausted, as bronze is made by mixing tin with copper. Okay, bronze is made up of tin and copper. We do not find many bronze objects in prehistoric times. The Harappan possibly procured some tin from Rajasthan, but their main supply came from Afghanistan. So you should remember this. The Harappan people traded or imported tin mostly from Afghanistan and less from Rajasthan, and majority from Afghanistan and minority from Rajasthan. Okay, and even this was limited. Hence, although the Harappan people used bronze tools, their number in comparison to those found in Western Asia, Egypt, and Crete is very small. and their tools contain a smaller percentage of tin. Therefore, the major part of India had no proper Bronze Age. That is an age in which tools and implements were largely made of bronze, starting with the early centuries of the Christian era. India developed intimate connections with Myanmar and the Malay Peninsula, which had an abundance of tin. This made possible the use of bronze on a large scale, especially for statues of the gods in South India. Tin for the Bihar bronzes of Pala times was possibly obtained from Gaya, Hazaribagh, and Ranchi. For in Hazaribagh, tin ores were smelted till the mid of the last century. India has been rich in iron ores, which are found particularly in South Bihar, Eastern MP, and Karnataka. So, Chota Nagpur Plateau is most important area in which iron is found. Once the art of smelting using bellows making steel was learnt, iron could be used for war and more usefully to clear jungles and for deep and regular cultivation. The formation of the first empire in Magad in 6th to 4th centuries BC owed much to the availability of iron just south of this region. The large scale use of iron made Avanti, with its capital at Ujjain, an important kingdom in the 6th and 5th centuries BC, because of presence of iron mines. Avanti was also the powerful kingdom in the contemporary, the powerful other Mahajanpad, that is Magad. And Magad not defeated, not be able to defeat, not be able to defeated Avanti due to its iron mines. Okay, and ultimately the Avanti was defeated in the long period, after long period of time. Okay, in comparison to the other kingdom which had been defeated by Magad. The Satavahanas and the other dynasties that arose south of the Vindhyas may have exploited the iron ores of Andhra and Karnataka. Andhra possesses large lead resources, which explains the large numbers of lead coins in the kingdom of Satavahanas, who ruled over Andhra and Maharashtra in the first 2 centuries in the Christian era. Lead may have also been obtained from towns in Rajasthan. So these are the important iron mines located in various parts of the country. The earliest coins, called punch marked coins, were made largely of silver, although this metal is rarely found in India. However, silver mines existed in early times in the Kharagpur hills in Munger district, and they are mentioned as late as the reign of Akbar. This accounts for the use of the white metal in earliest punch marked coins found in Bihar. Large quantities of gold dust, which were carried by river streams from the Himalayas, were collected from the deposits of river channels in the plains. These deposits are called placers. Okay, placers deposits, you should remember this. Okay, gold is found in the Kolar gold fields of Karnataka. Very early trace of gold has been found at a new Stone Age site of around 1800 BC in Karnataka. We have no indication of its exploitation till the beginning of the 2nd century AD. Kolar is considered to be the earliest capital of Gangas of South Karnataka. So Kolar mine is important, and it was connected from Dakshin Path through the Malwa Plateau. Okay, so Dakshin Path or Suvarnagiri. Dakshin Path connected from Magad or Patliputra to Suvarnagiri located in Karnataka. Much of the gold used in early times was obtained from Central Asia and the Roman Empire. Gold coins therefore came into regular use during the first 5 centuries of the Christian era, as the local Resources were insufficient to maintain the gold currency over a long spell of time. Once the supply from outside stopped, gold coins became rare. In ancient times, India was produced. India also produced a variety of precious stones, including pearls, especially in ancient central India, Orissa, and South India. Precious stones formed an important item of trade in articles which were eagerly sought for the Romans in the early centuries of the Christian era. So, I am telling you in brief about Dakshina Path and Uttar Path. Uttar Path was connected from the old port city that is known as Tamarlipti, located in West Bengal, and it passed through the various capital cities such as Magad in Patliputra and the northern part of Awadh, and this went to the Central Asia and connected to the Silk Route of China. And after this, the Dakshina Path was also important, and it was connected from Magad. The capital was Patliputra, and Patliputra through it passed Patliputra through the Tosali or Ujjaini. We can say the Avanti's capital was Ujjaini, and Ujjaini or Tosali in the was located in the part of Ujjaini kingdom. Okay, and this was connected in the south, that is, it was connected in the south, here located the Kolar mine, means it was Suvarnagiri, or we can say it was mines of Kolar mines. Okay, so this is the important chapter, and you should remember all these information which are very important for your in the perspective of general studies, paper first of mains as well as prelims point of view. So these are very important. Okay, you should remember these. So this chapter has been ended, and we will learn next about ecology and environment, and we will generally know about the ecology and environment of Indian subcontinent, and how these ecology and environment impacted India in ancient time uh, for the ruler as well as its climate change. Okay, right now which is ongoing. So we will meet in the next lecture. Till that, thank you for watching. Have a great day, and keep practicing your question paper as well as writing answer practices, at least one or two questions each every day. Okay, thank you.